welcome to the Good Convo, Good People podcast with me, your host, Jordan DeLeon. You guys can see me now. This is our first video episode. I want to thank everyone who listened to our last episode with my sister, Ashley. Appreciate all the love and support. I got another very special guest with us today. Dario. What's up, Dario?
What's up?
Yeah, so go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are, what you do, where you're from, why you do it. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, Jordan. Honestly, when I first saw you doing this, it made me smile because I love seeing people, branch out of the norm. But anyway, I'm Dario. I am an entrepreneur, 33-year-old entrepreneur. Used to be an engineer. I always say a recovering engineer, but born and raised here in Denver, Colorado. Been here my whole life. Grew up in that same area, the Harvey Park, kind of Bear Valley area. I think that the majority of your people on here.
Yeah.
Dow Elementary, Coons Miller Middle School, Kennedy High School. Graduated 2006. After that, I went to college to be a civil engineer, Metro State University. Graduated in 2015 with my bachelor's degree in civil engineering, minor in math. From there, I kind of jumped around from a couple different engineering jobs. Didn't really like any of them, honestly. I was still kind of just a number in the system, and left a very stable career to do what I'm doing now. So, yeah, very mechanically inclined. I can build, fix just about anything.
Yeah, and before we actually met, because, how we know each other, so Natalie's brother, Danny, you and him are really good friends.
Yep.
And so I met you through them. But I've always kind of heard about you just from just mutual older friends that I had. And they would just always say, you were always, you're building stuff in your garage. You had bikes and stuff built in your garage. So that's kind of like your niche.
It is. Yeah, I got really lucky early on. My mom had this giant, it was like an RV garage. It was huge. And I was able at a very young age to really just get my hands on tools, and she just pretty much let me do whatever I wanted in that garage. So it really set me up for what I'm doing now. I always say everything that I'm doing now is like a culmination of all these little small things I did throughout my entire life. So
nice. And your mom owns Angel Beauty Salon right there on Federal. I'm sure.
Yeah.
All the girls has got their hair done there once. I've gotten haircuts in there.
I feel like Angels is a staple in Denver.
In South Denver for sure.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows Angels.
Absolutely. She's been there for 20 plus years. She's been in that little area for almost 30 years, but she's been at that location for 20 plus years. Angels Beauty Salon on Florida and Federal.
Yeah, you can't miss it. It's right there.
Yeah, they do awesome work.
Yeah, like I said, I've even got haircuts in there, but it's if you grew up in South Denver, you know Angels for sure, right there by the Gen X.
Absolutely.
Nice. So, is that kind of where you got your entrepreneur mindset from? Was from your mom or
you know what? It's I kind of want to equate it to that, but I don't really, honestly. I think for me it was about not being okay with my current situation. I had a 8-year career at Denver Water. I started there 2008 and I left in 2016, and I was very comfortable. My mom was an entrepreneur at a very young age. She kind of didn't have a choice after my father had passed away. But I saw the struggles that she went through, and it was something that at an early age, my early 20s, late teens, I didn't want to pursue. I wanted to be that engineer. I wanted to go to school. I wanted to get that good high-paying job. I wanted what everybody wanted, right? That was the whole idea. But I saw that my mom had freedom, and to me that was more important. So I got to a point. I think I got to a point in my career where it was like, okay, I can make the money. Anybody who knows me, and maybe you don't know me well enough, but anybody who knows me knows that I've always been able to make $1. That wasn't my driving factor by any means. That wasn't my motivating factor by any means. For me, it was like seeing the freedom that my mom got, being her own boss.
Like that financial freedom.
No, not even that. Just get up and go to Vegas. I'm not going in tomorrow because I don't feel like it. I don't have to call anybody. Just that, as minute as it is, that freedom is worth life-changing events to some people.
Oh, yeah.
and that's what it was for me.
Just the freedom to do whatever, like you
Yeah.
said, just get up and go, and just not like, oh, I got to call into work, or I got to put in
Right.
vacation and that. So okay,
Yeah, so to answer your question, I get, I don't think it was seeing my mom have the freedom as much as it was like, okay, I did this for 8 years, and then I bounced around to a couple engineering firms, and it was the idea that somebody had that much control over my life to be able to say, you got to come in at 8, you have to do this project on this time, you have to do all this small stuff, even though it's minute. It was tiny things, but it was enough that I was like, I'm not going to do this.
No, I mean not too many people. You'd be like, you know what, like fuck this,
Yeah.
and like
No,
I'm gonna quit this job that I got a degree in, and work so hard to do what I want. So I mean
Right.
that's a huge step, and hats off to you for doing that.
Right
and,
on.
and that's kind of why I wanted you on the show, because I mean you're definitely somebody that I look up to in that aspect,
Right on,
to
I
where you're
appreciate
like, that always stuck with me. I'm like Dario just gave up like a engineering job for Denver Water, and I
Yeah.
mean for everyone that knows Denver Water, like if you're in Denver Water, you're set.
Oh, absolutely. It was a sweet gig. I mean, I don't have nothing bad to say
No,
about
of
Denver
course,
Water.
but it just wasn't you. It
Right.
wasn't what you wanted. But I was like, if he could do that to go pursue his dream, that always stuck with me, and I think that's kind of like part of what pushed me into doing things like this, or other things that I'm trying to get into. So
Right.
that's something, and that's why I wanted you on the show, because maybe you could inspire others. But no, I mean that's definitely awesome. So yeah, so I mean you've always been kind of just mechanic, working with your hands, building stuff. I think
Right.
you started with the D-Town Cycles. Was that like your first actual like?
That was, yeah. So after I left Denver Water, I jumped around to a couple different engineering firms. I went to the town of Castle Rock for a while, then I went to another small engineering firm, and just didn't really fit in, dude. I mean, I was obviously qualified for the gigs. I just, I would wake up every day and I was mad. I'm like, why am I mad? I was like going into meetings all grumpy. It's like, why am I grumpy? I'd get home and I didn't feel accomplished. I'm like, why am I not accomplished? So it was, after I had those run-ins, I left, like you said a minute ago, a very stable industry. I mean, I was easily a six-figure engineer,
Yeah.
which is a very common thing in engineering, but that's good money, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean six figures, man.
Six-figure anything. Like, you don't even have to be an engineer, but six-figure money is comfortable living. It's very comfortable living, no matter what you're doing. But I did. I left all of that, and I found this little. Thinking about it now, it's extremely humbling, because I wanted to go into this entrepreneurship with that humble beginning. Like, I had a chunk of money that I had saved up, and I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck, or I wasn't eating ramen noodles by any means. But I found this little tiny shop in Golden, right on Golden Road. And if you know Golden, it's a very tight-knit community.
Mm-hmm.
And it was literally right on Golden Road. It was 1,200 square feet. It was $1,300 a month with utilities. It was just enough room for like 10 motorcycles. But yeah, I quit it all to start a tiny 1,200 square foot motorcycle repair shop. We restored vintage Japanese bikes is what we did. And I did that because I loved, at that point in my life, I loved to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, what better way to jump into this entrepreneurship than doing something that I love to do? So I did it. And it was, and maybe this won't resonate very well with your viewers, or your listeners, but it was pretty dumb of me, honestly. It was.
It's crazy, is what it is. I don't think it's dumb, but it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we can have different opinions, but it was, I left a very stable career at, $100K plus a year for a shop that made $18,000 that year in net profits. Now, it didn't go belly up. I wasn't broke, but I mean, it was a complete 180 mind shift from what I was doing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So and it was scary.
No, and that is, but I mean, for you to take that jump, not too many people would do that. You know what I mean? People be like, oh, like it's always a what if, or what if this fails, or what if I don't make as much money as I anticipated, which you didn't, but still, like, I mean, it was something that you were doing, and I mean, like, you were happy doing it, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was awesome. I'd go in every day, and there was a little tiny cafe at the end of the strip, like little strip mall thing that I was in, and it was called JC's Cafe. If you're ever in Golden, hit up JC's Cafe. John and Chris, they're awesome people. But anyway, I'd go there every morning, have a cup of coffee and some breakfast, and then I'd start my day. Like, okay,
See that like
what was I gonna do today? It was like working on a 1976 Honda CB750 Super Sport, awesome bike,
yeah.
or the next day like somebody brought me an RZR and let's do brakes on it or something. So it was like it was something new every single day, and it was on my terms. More importantly, it was I'm not gonna go in today. I don't know how many times I told Marcia, I'm like, hey, let's go do something, and she's like, well, don't you have bikes? I'm like, I do, but I can also do whatever I want.
Yeah.
It was like that whole concept was so new to me, dude.
That's exciting. Like that's you know what I mean, to live like that, and it's not even about the money. It's just that freedom,
Right.
and like just to like I don't feel like going in today. Like
Right.
whereas most people are like, oh, well, I got to call in, and then you got to come up with that excuse, and you got to do that cringy call.
On your record.
And,
You can only do that 5 times a year. Like, oh,
exactly. Whereas like what, this is mine, and what, I'm gonna take a day off, and that hats off to you for that. So I don't know too much about bikes and all that, but you said you were doing mostly on what were they, the Japanese?
Yeah, so they're vintage Japanese bikes is what we focus primarily on. The problem is it's not a very cash dense industry, as in like you can go buy a Honda such and such for $600 that someone has sitting in their porch, and it'll take $3,000 or $4,000 to get it running right. And they thought, well, I just bought this $600 bike. Maybe for another $1,000 I'll get it running. It just didn't work, So when people would bring me these, like you call them barn finds in the industry, it was like, no, this is $2,000 to fix, and they like freak out. So I think I was a little early in that industry because right now the cafe racer, you've heard that term before. The cafe racer right now is blowing up. I mean, people are like throwing $10,000 into motorcycle builds now. So I think I was a little early into that, and if I'd have stuck with it, but.
So on that, so after D-Town Cycles, where'd you go from there?
So when I was still at D-Town Cycles, I built my very first teardrop camper. I actually built one for just me and Marcy to have, my wife Marcy, and we used it a couple of times at Walden, and we camped in it, and it was awesome. It was just this. I found a used trailer with the title. I just put this like teardrop shell. I don't know what I was doing, but I saw it on Pinterest, and I'm like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. So I built this thing, and it was a really, really cool looking, like off-road capable trailer, and that kind of led me into the trailer shop, which is still actively going right now. So yeah, I mean, it led me into my next shop, which was like a world of difference from the first shop. I mean, it was like 3,000 square feet. It had an office. It was in a really nice industrial area. I had black and white checkered flooring, epoxy, covered with epoxy. It was super nice shop. It was super clean, and I started Altitude Teardrop Company was the next business.
And okay, and what's with the black and white checkered flooring? Because you have that in your garage.
Yeah, I know.
Like, what does that mean? Like,
when my very first car in high school was a 1965 Ford Mustang.
Okay,
it was a hot rod.
Nice
for me. It was a hot rod, and I've always told everyone if I was to be reborn, I wanted to be reborn in the like 60s era where like hot rods were like just starting to come around the corner.
I could see that. I could see you in that area.
And, pack of cigarettes in my white t-shirt, and slick back hair, and like grease. 100%, dude. So I've always been in love with that era, and every single one of my shops until the day that I die is going to have black and white checkered flooring. So
okay,
that's just the thing, a small thing,
but it's like something that you like you said, your thing. That's nice. All right, so I mean, we're definitely gonna get into the teardrops, but just a little bit about your background. So I mean, you're first generation American.
Yeah, so both my parents were born in Mexico. My father's from Chihuahua, Mexico. My mom was from Santa Maria del Oro, Durango, which is a little tiny village in Durango, Mexico. And I'm first generational of my family to be born in the States, as Trump calls us, anchor babies. So, yeah, me, my sister, I have an older sister and 2 younger brothers. We were all born here in Colorado, here in Denver. And so both my parents immigrated here to the United States when they were in their mid-teens. My mom was 16. My father was a couple years older than she was. And, yeah, they had known each other from Mexico. They had spent their entire lives here together. Up until my father passed away at 32 years old. So,
oh wow,
yeah, I've already outlived my father. But
yeah,
he was in a car accident, drinking and driving, rolled his truck, and he was with two two of his employees, he owned a roofing company. So, I mean, some people say the entrepreneur blood is like deep in my veins.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
probably is.
it comes from both
Yeah,
sides.
it probably is. My father was, he owned a roofing company, and in the mid and early '90s, he was doing like $1,500 a week,
Wow.
which that's $1 million back
Yeah.
then. So my mom saved all of his paperwork, and when I was really young, and I was like trying to figure myself out, and I was like this developing teen, I was like looking at all my dad's stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Something that stuck with me my whole life, but. So yeah, so he had his roofing company, and then died when he was 32, drinking and driving accident, rolled his truck, and killed himself and hurt his two buddies really bad. They survived, but yeah, after that, my mom kind of just she took it pretty bad. Obviously, my mom was my father and my mother were very traditional Mexican people in a sense that it was a male dominated house. The sense of machismo was like the man was going to take care of the woman, and the woman's going to stay home and take care of the kids, cook, clean.
Yeah, that traditional Mexican style.
Yeah, and it's very big in Europe with the Greek community, and it's very big in, I don't know if you call it a third world mentality or what, but obviously
it's like an old school. I think. Yeah, just real super old school.
And I think like the civilized world doesn't pick that up anymore. I think it's I don't know that it's necessarily right or wrong. I think it just comes down to whatever the hell you think. But so after my father had passed away, my mom was kind of a deer in headlights. She didn't really know what to do, but picked herself up and started Angel's Beauty Salon, and has just been rolling since.
And Angel's, that's your grandpa's name?
Yeah, my grandpa's name is Angel Gutierrez. He just passed away. I guess not just. It's been about 7-8 years now or so. But he was the head of the whole family. The Gutierrez family is huge. There's 13 siblings, I believe, aunties and uncles. So we have like 70 first-generation cousins.
Yeah. That traditional Mexican family,
I think my oldest cousin, Angel, who lives in Chicago, is like 50-something.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And my youngest cousin, Ralph, is like in his early 20s. So the generational gap. No, actually, I think Andrew, my youngest brother, would be the youngest.
Yeah, was 16,
He's
right?
14.
14.
Yeah, or 15 or something. I'm so bad at the age thing. But yeah, I mean the span with our cousins is great. It was a huge family, and unfortunately, I think when my grandpa passed and then my grandma passed not too long ago, everyone's kind of like starting to do their own thing, starting to branch out, which happens with the big family.
Yeah, and I mean I've seen that on both sides of my family. Right. Like a grandparent, they pass and everyone just they break up, and
right.
Think nothing's really the same after that. How old were you when your dad passed?
95. I was pretty young. I think I was like 8 or 9 years old. I don't remember a lot about him, honestly. I know he was a very, very strict man. Like I said earlier, he was very traditional valued when it came to the Mexican culture. You worked 10, 12-hour days. You worked 6-7 days a week. And that's kind of what I came from. That was the whole idea. His father, my grandpa Arcadio, is my little brother's name. My grandpa Arcadio was the same way. He had a ranch in Mexico, 10, 12-hour days, sometimes 7 days a week. That's just what you did.
Yeah, that Mexican grind.
Right.
And I think that kind of like rubs off into like the newer generation as far as like, having that grind, whereas maybe, you're not breaking your back, doing construction or,
right.
Roofing and things like that. But you could transition that. So like what you're doing, with your businesses. So you
right.
you kind of take that hustle and that grind that, you're brought up, or I think it's in people's blood, honestly. It's that mentality, something with the DNA to put that in, like you put that into your business.
Right. And I think it's like you said it a second ago. It's different kind of grind.
We're using our minds
right.
rather than our hands
right.
or our back.
And I think it's this generational, faux pas that you have to work as hard as your parents did, and you have to get up every 5 a.m. and go, bring the cows around and feed the pigs. That's not. It's a different kind of grind. I'm not saying that I don't work 10, 12-hour days, but sometimes I work 2-hour days and go and
it's a balance,
ice fish, or go and ride dirt bikes or something. Cool.
Yeah. And you live a pretty exciting life. I mean, you
right on.
You do. Like, I mean, you're in Alaska.
Yeah, I love Alaska.
You have jet skis. You ice fish. you ride dirt bikes. Are you an adrenaline junkie? It's fair to say.
100% adrenaline junkie. I call myself a 4-season outdoorsman, sportsman, if you will. But I do a lot of ice fishing. I mean, I think me and Tony will have gone like 20 times this year.
And I'm gonna go one day. I'm gonna man up and go one day.
Oh,
I seen you took Marcy to
yeah, we took her finally on her first trip. She didn't catch anything, but she missed a couple fish. But it was exciting.
It's all about the experience.
Yeah.
I remember like seeing ice fishing on like TV shows or like something growing up. I'm like, that doesn't look like fun.
It's not what you think it is. You know, some people are like, oh, I don't want to sit around some hole and freeze.
Yeah, freeze. But like seeing you guys do it, I mean, like it looks
we do
fun.
It properly.
Yeah, you do it right.
Like a proper setup.
And you're like you're grilling the fish there.
Yeah, we make the freshest fish tacos. I swear. I mean, Tony's always all over his Snapchats. You know, but. Yeah, man, and I just a little bit to touch on that. You know, I think working differently is breaking that generational feeling of having to outwork your parents, having to, you know, and I think that was the whole pushing point for me with leaving the gig.
Yeah.
You know.
What is like standard or tradition?
Yeah.
In the route you're supposed to go, like you broke that, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Breaking the mold.
Exactly. No, exactly. And I mean you're getting into things that, you know, like our people like traditionally don't. Right. I mean, like we were talking about on our way over here. I mean you're getting into stocks and forex.
Right.
And I, like you said, it like, why not us? You know, why can't we do this? You know
absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I think that there's this idea of what a Latino man in especially our culture right now in the United States is supposed to be. You know, I'm supposed to be a hard-working construction worker or a drywaller or, you know,
or in the field,
a 9-to-5 guy, right? That's what I'm supposed to be. But, you know, you educate yourself and you set goals, you know, daily goals, weekly goals, yearly goals, and you hit those goals. And it takes you to completely different directions. You know, like you said earlier, I started my trading career not long ago, and I'm extremely lucrative about it, you know. And it was like, imagine putting, you know, a machine in front of somebody. It's just a money making machine. That's all this thing is. It just feeds you money.
Yeah. And
you're getting somebody with a decent mind behind it, and I obsess over it. Like me and Brian talk all the time about it. He's like, dude, you're obsessed. You know? And I'm like, it's here, what level of obsession is good? But I think it's a good obsession.
Yeah, I think things for like that, as far as like, I think anything to make money, obsessing over that, I mean, that's definitely a healthy and good obsession.
Yeah, and then you know what? You touch on a point there about making money. You know, I think that there's this common misconception with an entrepreneur like me, you know, and I'm guilty of it. I won't say I'm not, but it's not always been about the money.
Yeah.
When I was young, I wish you'd have known me in my early 20s because I was a prick. I was an asshole. All I wanted to do was show you how much money I had. And I hated that person that I was, but I grew from him. Yeah. You know, and it was like I wanted to be flashy, but now I'm 33 years old. You know, I have a good chunk of change, and I'm doing it for different reasons now. You know, it's about generational wealth. It's about changing the outlook of not only your future, but the futures to follow. You know, it's about leaving somebody behind something. It's about breaking the mold. You know, all these things I just think about on a day-to-day basis, and they couple into this idea where I end up becoming this person who no one ever saw coming. You know, like.
No, exactly.
And I always get people who are like, well, what are you doing now? You know, well, what are you up to now? It's like, well, crazy, but I'm doing this. No, I love that, dude. Yeah, I love it. It feeds me every single day, Jordan. Honestly, man.
And I think we were like writing each other on Snapchat, and I was like, well, like I think I asked you, like, well, what are you up to now?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, my mother-in-law Margot, who's Marcy's mom, well, what are you doing now, Dario? Like, what are you doing now in this world? You know, because she obviously comes from that generation where you did that thing for 45 years. Mm-hmm. You know, you clocked in and you clocked out, and even if you were miserable or not, you know, here's my biggest pet peeve. People tell me all the time, well, you took a gamble leaving that job to do what you're doing now, and you might be doing good, but it was a gamble. You know what a bigger gamble is to me, Jordan, honestly? The gamble that you spend your entire life, and I'm not knocking the 9-to-5 guy.
No,
just fuck, you know, precursor. I'm not knocking the 9-to-5 guy, but you spend your entire life doing one thing for 45 years in the bet, in the hedge, that at the end of that 45-year stint, you are healthy enough, you have enough money to finally start doing the things that you want to do.
But how old are you?
33.
No, but
right,
how?
No, yeah, then.
No, but
Exactly.
how old are you when you're finally able to do the things?
Right. And who wants to go do all that cool shit at 65?
Yeah.
I don't.
No.
I want to do that shit right now.
Exactly.
So people call me a gambler. That's a gamble, dude. And again, I'm not knocking the 9 to 5 guy. Honestly, I think I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am at in my life if I didn't do a 9 to 5. But it was for me. It was like taking your thoughts further than that.
Exactly, and we do need those 9 to 5 guys. You know what I mean? Bankers.
No, absolutely.
We still need those people, but I think for people like me and you, like we don't want to be that. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to. And I'm glad you touched on that because not too many people. I think they're either afraid to have those thoughts because how they were raised, or it's scary, or it's a gamble, like people say, or whatever that you did.
I hate when people tell me you gambled with it. It's like, dude, okay, what are we all doing here? What's the end goal, honestly, with all of this? Right? Is it to make enough money to feed your family? Is it to do something substantial in this world? Is it to find your happiness? Right?
Yeah.
The point is, I don't know why you're doing this. You don't know why I'm doing this, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? As long as you're happy doing it.
As long as you know why, and
so
you know what I mean?
I used to hate that, dude. And I got it from close family, close friends. I've lost friends because of it. Oh, I can't believe you left your 8-year career.
Yeah, are you dumb?
To go get your fingernails dirty on a motorcycle. And it was like, yeah, I can't believe I did it either. But why do you care so much?
Yeah, like what is it to you? That affects your pockets?
You're gambling. You're a gambler. Oh my, excuse me. Yeah, I am a gambler, but
but I think you. Like, yeah, it was a gamble, but you bet on yourself,
right?
And you had insight on the odds. You know what I mean? You had insight in the game.
Yeah,
and yeah, you know what I mean. That's yourself.
Betting on a Super Bowl team or a stock market to go up. You know what? The harder I work, and another thing I hate too. Sorry, I'm going on this rant.
No, go ahead. I love it. I love it.
People are like, "Well, you got lucky. You got so lucky." Now, I may be being a little exaggerated, but like, oh, well, you got lucky, and that somebody wanted to partner up with you with the trailer shop, and we'll talk about that later. But
yeah,
they tell me, well, here's the funny part. It's like the more I worked, the luckier I got. It was like this crazy direct correlation between hard work.
Like how does that work?
Exactly,
like what?
Oh God, it bugged me.
It wasn't like
you're for a long time.
It wasn't like you were sitting at the slots or something, and you're putting in money and you hit 10,000 twice. You did the work. You put in the work, and it paid off. And everything that you're doing, it went right. Like I think that is like low key, and not trying to knock whoever told you that, but like a little bit of, I don't want to say. I mean, yeah, you could say like jealousy because all right, like, oh, he did this and it succeeded, like that, that makes me upset because I'm not doing nothing. I'm sitting here working this 9 to 5. Why does he? And like I don't think it's ever intentional, but that's just people's. As you throw your wallet out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I got my gloves.
No, but and I noticed a bit like, oh, maybe they don't understand it, or it's not something they won't do, so it's completely wrong to them. You know what I mean? And it's like if it doesn't affect you, and if it doesn't affect a person in any way, then like mind your business. Like shut up.
that kind of opens up a different door that they don't understand it. It's like when you start thinking about bigger stuff like science, like some people can't understand like how we came to be as an atom. Mm-hmm. It's so mind-boggling to some people that it's easier for them to accept a different reality, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They accept whatever ideology you believe in.
Yeah, like evolution or created by God,
or religion, or whatever you decide to pick was our creation. But like you said, it's hard for people to understand. So what people want to do, what's easier to do than understanding somebody else's perspective, making up your own perspective. Mm-hmm. And that's what people do. You know what? It's so weird to me that Dario left all this shit to do what he's doing.
That's not normal.
Right. And it's easier for me to just be like, he's dumb.
Yeah.
Or he's going to fail. Or, things like that. And for me, it's like driving motivation. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, it fuels a fire.
Yeah. A bit of difference does it make if I fail. You know what would happen if I fail? I would just go take my fancy degree and go get an engineering job.
You got a nice little safety net there right. to fall back on. Yeah. So all right. So high altitude.
Yeah, so it was originally Altitude Teardrop Company when it was just me.
I think that's why I always call it altitude.
ATC Altitude, and then in late 2018, I was honestly, Jordan, I was done, dude. I had done about 18 months.
I think you told me that too. You're like, I'm kind of.
I was
like...
exhausted, dude. I was doing 60-hour work weeks. You know, I'd come home late, and Marcy's like, "Do you want to do anything?" I'm like, "I just want to go to sleep." And, you know, I was putting in at least 6 days a week, 10, 12-hour days. It was me by myself. I was front office. I was, website presence. I was social media presence. I was the actual builder, the welder, the painter, the wood guy. I had to take delivery.
One-man company.
I was, dude. And you know what? As much as I believed in myself, I'm like, holy, like, this is exhausting. So.
Goes back to that 9-to-5 grind.
Yeah, no. And it was like, I'm like, did I dupe myself? You know, I just left this cush-ass gig to go home and work 60, 70-hour work weeks, and I wasn't even paying myself that year. You know, I was just letting the money accumulate so that the company would have enough funds to build the next 2 or 3 trailers. So I didn't pay myself at all that year. I didn't make a dime. I went from making 6 figures to $18K to nothing. So, dude, it was a gnarly couple of years. But anyway, at the end of 18, I was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. So I put the business up for sale. And okay. I had a good chunk that I was happy walking away from it. And it was a really cool idea. You know, what somebody was coming in was buying, in the industry, it's called a blue sky purchase. You're buying a potential. You're not even, because as 1 year, one man, how much can I really have shown? You don't really buy a business until it's like 3 or 4 years in. And you can see all of the data, all of the P&L sheets, you know, everything that you need to know to buy a business. So for me, it was like, I'm just exhausted, dude. So anyway, I ended up finding a guy, Robert Doshi, my business partner with High Altitude Trailers, and we partnered up and we blew this thing up, dude. He came in with the capital investment and we took the company from my little one man, you know, little shit shop in the corner of Golden to, I mean, this nice 10,000 square foot facility. We have 10 employees. We're doing, 4 trailers a week. You know, it was taking me 6 weeks to do 1 trailer by myself. And the quality has gone through the roof. We're using name brand stuff instead of me nickel and diming these trailers. So it's been a wild ride with that trailer company. And that's, we were talking earlier about like long position moves in your life. And that's 100% one of my long position moves where, down the road, I could potentially see us partnering up with a giant company, Jayco, Thor, one of the big dogs or Blue Dog RV, and really just kind of taking this thing to the next level. Which would be thousands of trailers a year.
I don't know what just made me think of this, but remember, I think it was after a concert or something. We're at Brooklyn's at the Pepsi Center.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, I was like, I think I was like trying to sell you. Yeah, I was gonna be your salesman.
Yeah, I think Allison was there watching the whole thing.
Yeah, and I was like telling you, I was like why can't you make 1,000 a month or something like that? And I was like, but I seen that vision for you,
right on.
And like kind of fruition to that. And I think when you, because you were I think you were posting about like you sold the company or whatever, and I remember I was low key a little mad at you. I was like, why? Like, why would you sell that?
I still have ownership,
Yeah. So, and like as I found out later, but I was like I just seen that vision. Like, I mean, that's something that you can, that's gonna do good,
right?
And I was like, why'd you sell that? And but like now you still, because you're the vice president, right? I was looking at the
Robert
website.
Has control. And you know what? Honestly, dude, when I was in my early 20s, I thought that I knew everything, and everyone always thinks that, right? In their early 20s, you always think I'm a one-man wrecking crew and I can do it all. And you know what? I was pretty good at it, but I found I was lucky enough, and I hate using that word, but I was lucky enough to find a business partner like Robert whose strengths we play on. Obviously I'm very, very technical. I can build, design, engineer anything, everything, honestly. There's been nothing in this life that I've not been able to fix, design, build, repair, whatever. And Robert, he's come from manufacturing and business, and he knows that side of the things. The stuff that I'm like, I will go my entire life not wanting to learn that stuff.
Yeah.
And he's going to get pissed that I said this, but I always say, like, he does all that boring shit upstairs.
Yeah. All the stuff but now that helps because he takes away all that stuff that you have to do, and you can focus on the stuff that you like to do.
The partnership is awesome, man. I mean, I think Robert and I play on our strengths, and we've been able to really, like I said, really take this shop to the next level. There's really only one level after this, and it's big dog, being one of the big guys. So
yeah, and then at that point, you know, you get to fall back and let somebody go in your position. You just sit there and
Right.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
But
just
you know what? This is the trailer was my baby. They're called the XT50s.
I'm trying to get the internet up right now just so I can show everybody what they look like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring the camera down here, but no, explain them a little bit.
Yeah, so-
They're dope.
No, they're awesome.
And let me ask you, so because before you didn't have like the Yeti cooler in it, you didn't. Or is that something that you came up with, or is
Well,
it?
so I mean, I'll just be completely honest about it. You know, when I was first building these trailers, I was having to be very, very conscious of my budgets, right? So I couldn't just go and put a Dometic fridge or go and put a Yakima rack on or put Michelin Pilot tires. You know, I couldn't go put the nicest stuff on these trailers because I was trying to make a dime.
Yeah.
So, you know, now that we're a little more established and now that we're able to kind of partner up with and buy in volume and bulk, we're able to partner up with these bigger, you know, the Thules and the Dometics and the Camp Chefs and these bigger companies. We're able to really offer the customer a really cool product. But anyway, the high altitude XT50, it's called, is an extremely off-road capable, go anywhere, do anything, 100% composite trailer. Now, when I say composite, I mean there's no wood, there's no aluminum, there's no seams to fail. We're the first in the industry, and this is kind of our claim to fame, if you will. But we're the first in the industry to essentially take like boat technology. You know how you built like a boat with fiberglass, 100% waterproof.
Yeah.
Essentially, turn that boat around and bolt it onto a frame and call it a trailer. So it's an expensive process, and it you know is the majority of the cost on building these trailers is the shell. But we're really able to offer the customer a product that is just it's like nothing you've ever seen before.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pull it up on my phone. I can't get the internet on my computer, but I'm gonna do a screen record and I'll figure out a way to add this into the the video. But I'm on the website right now.
HighAltitudeTrailers.com.
Yep. Go anywhere, do anything with high altitude trailers. Built for those seeking a lifetime of adventure with durability, reliability from the inside to the outside. Your new trailer will get you where you're going to, and keep you comfortable and prepare you for your next adventure. Get ready to get into the wild. So yeah, I mean, we got is that Danny's truck?
Yeah, he actually was in the like very first shoots that we did going up and over Berthoud Pass and Jones Pass. But yeah, they're really cool, man. Just check them out. They're very reasonably priced. I mean, it's kind of a niche market, and you kind of have to be into it. But are you playing this?
Yeah, I'm playing the video. I'm screen recording it, so I'll just add the visuals. Do wide.
Yeah, that was a really cool day of shooting. Actually, Allison, me, Marcy, and Danny, we all went up.
Did Fern do the? He didn't. He didn't shoot this. He shot in that.
He shot the summer footage that we did. This is just kind of highlighting its weather, weatherability, where you can actually take this thing in the snow. It's completely insulated. R10 value we're getting out of them. You can add a diesel heater to them.
You can pretty much live in these, right?
No, well, here that leads me to we had a customer that.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, we had a customer who actually bought one of these because something about his wife was getting her second PhD or something, and they were having to do a bunch of traveling, and they lived out of it. I mean, he was sent me videos from Antero Reservoir, -10 degrees, and they were inside like low 60s, just on their laptops.
That's so crazy.
Obviously, you can get a heater option with these trailers, but the whole point of that video that you're watching right now is to show that this is a year-round trailer. It's built that tough.
Those are nice visuals too.
Yeah,
that's
dope.
That
costs us money.
Pretty penny. But I mean, it's worth it, man. Like, all right. So yeah, this is the website. That the foam core composite shells he was talking about. Frame withstands 10,000 pounds of load, 100% weatherproof. These things are nice. Like, they're super nice. Yeah, and I mean they're built here and
everything's 100% built in Colorado. That's another thing that we really stress is the made in America, made in USA, Colorado proud. Everything pretty much is made in Colorado. The shells, the frames we build in house, we powder coat them locally as well. everything's sourced through wholesale distributors here in Colorado. So that's something that we would take very serious. Obviously, as a small business, we want to support other small businesses as well. And as long as they're Colorado based, and we're all for it. So.
All right, I'm gonna play the video. I think this is where it like shows them being made. Is that in the shop?
That's the one that Fern did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Natalie's cousin Fern, he does the visuals and photography and all that.
Yeah, 24K.
24K. I'm gonna have him on here eventually.
Hit him up. He's awesome.
He did our engagement pictures, and he did Lila's first pictures. Okay, so that's how they get made.
Yeah, that was just a little idea of how these trailers are made. The quality that go into them. Everything's hand built. We're not buying cookie cutter cabinetry. Everything gets hand built by our wood shop. We have an in-house wood shop with routers and all that good stuff. I mean, it's a high scale operation, and they're not.
Oh, and you can set up a tent on top too.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not cheap by any means. I mean, you're not gonna get into.
But you get your money's worth.
Exactly. But that's the whole idea, is that this trailer, and that was kind of the leading factor with us moving to a composite shell, is that you can go buy $100,000 fifth wheel that's built cheaper than that trailer is right there. That has edges that can fail, that have caulking seams that can. Somebody didn't waterproof because it was Friday afternoon and they wanted to go get a beer with their buddy, and they forgot to caulk an edge, and it started to leak on them. There's no kind of problems like that with our shells. They're just a one piece.
And Robert Doshi, how did you guys meet?
You know what? I had listed my company on Biz Buy Sell. It's a website. It's like a Craigslist for companies.
Yeah.
And him and his wife were wanting to move to Colorado. They were in Indiana. I'm sorry. And they were wanting to move to Colorado. He found me, came in, we talked, we negotiated, and I was able to meet his wife, Sandra. She's awesome, and we struck a deal. And,
the rest is history.
2018, so we've been partnered up for about 3 years. Yeah, 2 years.
Or 3 years.
Yeah,
coming
3
up on 3 years.
Yeah.
It's already 2021. No, that's awesome. So besides altitude, what else is on your plate? Because I think you might have mentioned.
Yeah, so I was doing some consulting work with a company that shares the building that we were in, a company called GAFCO Industries, and was doing some engineering consulting work with the owner who just passed away. Really cool guy. He was kind of like a mentor to me. Very, very successful businessman. His name was Greg. He was awesome. But I was doing that for a while, and then I kind of stumbled into my trading career, is what I'm doing now. I've started to trade forex, and I've been very lucrative doing it. And it's been an awesome process for me. And I'm actually, in all honesty, I'm starting to fall in love with it. Which, even though I'm doing this trailer business and I got other side hustles and doing all that stuff, for me to be able to say I'm falling in love with something is huge. I think I only love my wife and my dogs.
Yeah.
And my mom and sister and brothers.
Yeah.
But I'm truly falling in love with it. It's very technical. You're setting up your trends. You're setting up all of your data. You're relying on yourself. You're not taking signals from people. You're not taking, signals from programs. You're relying on your own technical knowledge of it. And I'm just now starting to come around. I think I was telling you at my house that I've blown some accounts already.
Yeah.
And it's been scary. I mean, like anything else, starting out is super scary, but it's been a roller coaster. But obviously like everything in my life, But yeah, I mean, so I'm doing that now, and I've obviously been focusing a little bit more on the trailer shop. We're coming out with a couple of different models in 22, 21, and we're really just trying to get this trailer company to a spot where it's just going to be a well-oiled machine. So, my day-to-day consists of like 2 or 3 different, I'm still doing a little consulting work for GAFCO. And, obviously if I see a setup with my trade, then I'll take it. But I've had a couple of really cool people I bounce ideas off of and that have really, really helped me along the way. Shout out to my boy Tim, shout out to my boy PJ. But they've been able to really, really get my eyes dialed in on what the market's doing. And without their help, I don't know how far I would be.
So that's who got you into
they're
forex?
They're mentors for me. I mean, I think they're both along their path as well in their trading careers, and they're both obviously everyone has different trade styles and everyone uses different different tactics and techniques. And yeah, these are just guys that I've bounced, and a couple other friends that I went to high school with have been reaching out and, let's start up groups or let's all get together. And like I was telling you a couple of times on Snapchat, I'm like, what I really want to do is just get really good at this.
Mm-hmm.
And then to be able to, possibly hold meetings where we can all sit down and discuss trade ideas, discuss, this is my setup for XAU USD, or this is my setup for GBP JPY, or
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin or whatever. Let's talk. Dude, the traditional way of making money is dead. And I tell Marcy that every single day, and she gets so mad at me. But it's on, dude. It's the truth.
No, it is.
You have $1 million TikTokers. You have $1 million YouTubers. The traditional way of making money is dying. It's dead. And, I think if you're not ahead of it, then and if you're not in it, then you're most likely, obviously you're behind.
Yeah, you're gonna get left behind.
So, I've always been a forward-thinking person, and I've always tried to align my body with that. Aligning your mind and body is a big thing for me. But being able to align all of myself into doing something that feels different, honestly, dude. Sometimes I'll get into a trade, and I'll write down how I feel, my emotions when I took the trade, in the middle of the trade, when I exited the trade, because it's different, and change hurts sometimes. Change feels awkward. It's like
scary too.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Especially if you're trading big lot sizes and you're trading with your own money, and it's like,
Yeah.
But I don't think honestly, as humans, I don't think that we can grow without feeling uncomfortable or without change. And I think that's what happens with someone who gets really comfortable in their situation, is they end up becoming stagnant. And that's why they lose their minds, and that's why they end up, excuse me, but they end up going and shooting up post offices, and they end up going and driving tractors through, Granby, Colorado.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
no,
the truth,
it's
dude.
yeah.
And honestly, it's the truth. It's like, here, find something that is gonna stimulate your psyche, so that your mental health is good. Because to me, dude, honestly, like, I take care of myself. I try to limit sugar intake. I drink a lot of water every day. I started working out again. But the most important thing to me, aside from the obvious, family, wife, dogs, whatever, is my mental health.
Yeah, that's at the end of the day. That's
Dude, you lose that ain't coming back.
Mm-mm.
You break your leg because you did something cool, whatever, fix it. But
yeah, but yeah, once you.
Oh, my mental health is huge for me, dude. That's why I did this whole thing, because it was like I was sitting in an office doing engineering shit, and let me tell you, there ain't nothing glorifying about that.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine.
Dude, it's
how like mind.
I'm going off on some weird ass tangent. So.
No. But to go back to how you said you wanted to start the group or whatever, have you heard of Discord?
Yeah, I'm in a couple of Discord groups.
Yeah, so what if, because I'm in a Discord group now where it's called the Wealth Squad. Oh, cool. Not even trying to plug them or nothing. Wealth Squad. And they just show you a bunch of different ways to make money. And cool. as I'm mentioning, they have this guy, he'll post his stock trades or whatever, things that he's getting into and this and that. So, what if you started something like that?
Yeah, no, and I think honestly,
and then charge monthly,
right.
A membership fee of $20 a month or whatever, and build on that, and you use your analysis and everything that and you're like, all right, guys, I'm gonna get in X, Y, and Z, right. And this is my stop loss. This is, and you know what I mean, and kind of help people and post videos on how to do it, things like that. I think that's something you definitely can do.
100%. I think so. It's funny you bring that up. I was actually talking to Rob. Rob with Nightlight Screen Printing. Oh,
Sandoval, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nightlight Screen Printing.
Yeah. Rob, I was talking to Rob. He had done some vinyl stuff for the trailers, and I was, talking to him about how there's guys that do that. They send out signals, and they're 80%, accurate, and people are making money. And I could, for me, not so much like I want to become a millionaire doing that. I think I would rather honestly, like, bring on 5 or 6 of my closest friends and be like, hey guys, this is what I'm doing to become a 7-figure trader, and I would love to show you guys.
So just helping your people.
Yeah, my squad, my clan, and for me, it's like everybody eats at my table, and why would I hoard this knowledge? Like my buddy Tony, one of my best friends,
T-Biz.
T-Biz. Shout out to CP26 Neck. What's up, Tony? Anyway, he's all like, I'll send him some snaps, when I'm in a trade and I'm making some profits, and he's like, what the hell? Like, when are you going to show me? And I go, what the snaps I don't send you is when I'm losing.
Yeah.
I was like, let me get really comfortable with this, dude. And then, or we can do it together. Like, let's lose together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or let me get really good about it. But yeah, I mean, I was talking to like my other buddy Chris about it. I was talking about, I want to set up like a little office, kind of like this room, like just something small in Belmar or in Cherry Creek, where we can call it a war room. We got monitors everywhere. All of us have our laptops out. We're like, listen, what do you think of this setup? You know what? I'm a firm believer on 5 minds are better than one.
Mm-hmm.
As powerful as one mind can be, I don't care. You got
Yeah.
5 people who are like, that's a good setup. Let's all take it. Boom, we're in profits. Or you know what? There's something weird that one of us caught that 4 of us didn't. Let's not take it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, Jordan, you're trading against giant institutions. You're trading against banks. But what you want to do, instead of going up this slippery slope, what you want to do is trade with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the whole idea. The smart money concepts, the trading with the banks, that stuff. You're wanting to trade with the banks. You're catching their giant movements. And it's like, look, if you're gonna try to trade against them, like, oh, it looks like they're gonna move it down. Let's buy it here.
Yeah.
Why? You're gonna lose.
Yeah, you're
95% of the time, dude. You know what? Your 100,000 a year, your $1 million a year, Jordan, is a drop in a lake of the amount of money that's traded daily in forex.
Yeah.
$77 trillion. Think about how much that is.
Yeah, that's nothing.
I can't even fathom the idea.
That's crazy. But no, I think the whole war room and having 5 guys.
How cool would that be,
that'd be
dude?
that'd be awesome. Imagine that. Like, imagine like kind
Everyone
of like
just chips in on the rent. I mean, no one's boss.
Everyone,
Right.
just chill and live good and have that
Right.
freedom. No, that's awesome. I actually I like that idea.
PJ, my mentor, calls them beach traders. You could be a beach trader. Give me a laptop, Wi-Fi, and I can make you money.
I think that's part of like how times have changed. Is honestly like all you really need to start something. You need a laptop, internet access, or your phone, internet access.
Yeah, I mean, I follow like Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a huge entrepreneur, and Ty Lopez. They talk about like, if you're a motivated entrepreneur and you can't make money right now in 2021 with the amount of e-commerce, trading stocks,
resources,
content creation, the amount of resources that are at our disposal. I mean, this is the age of information. We all walk around with a supercomputer in our pocket. So if you can't make money now as an entrepreneur, then you just go back to that 9 to 5 grind.
Mm-hmm.
You better
It's
just go
not for
back
you.
to waiting for payday to buy a snowboard, or every 15 days I can go fill my truck up with diesel. I can't go do this tonight. So, yeah, dude. I mean, a couple of the entrepreneurs that I follow, Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. He's on Instagram. He's awesome. He's just I think he's been trying to buy the Boston Celtics forever now, but,
yeah, he's
Ty
nice.
Lopez, another guy I
Ty.
follow. Yeah, Ty's cool.
Oh, I had a brain fart.
Yeah, anyway. Something I did want to talk about with you, Jordan, and I don't know if maybe we take it in this direction, but I read a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you've heard of him or not.
I haven't. Put me on game.
Yeah, so he's a neuroscientist who he studies the mind. He studies the chemical reactions that the mind and the body have, and he talks a lot about. And this is kind of my take on what, obviously he doesn't know it all. Nobody knows it all.
Yeah.
But this is my take on kind of what he talks about, and is about how the body and mind are 2 different entities. The mind is the CPU. The mind is the central nervous system. The mind is the controlling factor in this relationship. But the body is like an animal. It's like a dog. You tell it to sit, it sits. You tell it to pee, it pees. You tell it to walk, it walks. So, I've been asked before by people, like, how did you, like, consciously decide to make that change to become an entrepreneur? You know? Like, and you're one person that confides in me, and we talk a lot about entrepreneurship and why I did the things I did. And I have a handful of other people who like my buddy Joe, my little brother, a handful of other people who confine in me, like, hey, kind of right on the cusp here. I don't really know if I should take the leap, but it's really hard to make that change.
Mm-hmm. It's scary. Like I said, it's super scary.
Right. And change in general is scary. I'm overweight. I want to lose some weight. Making those changes is hard. I want to start reading more. I want to start waking up earlier. I want to stop drinking so much coffee. Change in general is hard. So what Dr. Dispenza really hits on is the idea that in order for your body to make these changes, because your body, like I said, your body's just a piece of meat that walks around that has things that it's been told.
Yeah.
Right? In order for that to happen, your body and mind have to become aligned.
Okay.
So how many times have you heard somebody like, I'm stressed, I have anxiety? I think you talked about that in your first episode.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've definitely struggled with anxiety my whole life.
So, I mean, is it fair to say that you think that your health has suffered a little bit from your anxiety?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if our mind is powerful enough to make us sick to where you had the shits or something because you were so nervous, why isn't it powerful enough to make us healthy?
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, and it absolutely. So that was kind of my take on what he was talking about, is about, you know, the firing and wiring order with your body. You know, when you've done something one way your entire life, those roads are paved, very well paved. Mm-hmm. It's a highway for your information to get to that area. I've always peed this way. Yeah. I've always walked this way. I've always, you know, eaten this way. All of that firing and wiring in your mind and your body is very well paved road. What isn't is waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to work out, is eating an apple instead of a Snicker bar. You know, these changes feel awkward to you and me because you're going down rough paved road. The firing order between your mind and body isn't established.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you start working out again after you don't work out for 4 or 5 years and your body's destroyed.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what am I doing?
What is this?
You know, it's confusing. So for somebody like that, always asks me that, how did you make that conscious mental decision to make a change in your life? And for me, it was, I was just finally able to align my body and mind to say, I'm done with this, and break that every single day routine of getting up and going to Denver Water and doing this thing every single day. And now waking up sometimes at 8.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to sleep in today.
Yeah. Not having that set schedule.
Right.
So you think that's, what was his name again?
Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's got
Dispenza.
Yeah, I read a book of his, and he's got a podcast that he does, and a lot of content on social media, on YouTube. He's got a channel, and he's a brilliant man. I mean, the dude has studied the human mind and the human psyche for the better part of 35 years, and he just talks a lot about, and even he has a hard time aligning his body and mind. But he talks about how powerful our minds are, and it's scary to think how truly powerful our minds are.
Yeah.
So, you know, and here's what I really want to say. He talks about how, okay, and we'll use your example about your DUI. You know, whenever you think about your DUI, how does it make you feel?
Before or now? Okay. Because in general now, I've accepted it.
Okay, and, maybe let's talk about how it made you feel a month after you had it.
Oh my God! I mean, I think I can honestly say that's the lowest I've been at my life.
Okay. So that feeling that you were feeling, the body doesn't know if you're experiencing that now or then. The body's dumb. Remember, it's just a dog. It's just a trainable animal. So say the problem with you living in the past with those emotions is that you subject your body to the same emotional response. So if you start thinking about your DUI and you're like, shit, man, I can't believe I did that, your body starts to fire the same emotional reactions that it had when you got your DUI. Yeah. So now you've lived your DUI twice. Now you think about it again, you've lived it 3 times.
It's kind of like muscle memory.
Exactly. But so imagine all the stress, the anxiety, the strain you put on your body when you got your DUI. Oh, God, you were so mad at yourself. You were so disappointed. It was an all-time low, like you said.
Yeah.
All of those crazy free radicals that your body was releasing, you release those every single time you think about it. Okay. So if we're living in the past, then we can essentially predict our future.
Yeah.
Which is going to be what? The past.
Yeah.
Right?
You're not going to get anywhere.
He talks about something like 70% of people live in a constant state of emergency. All they think about is their past. You know, so you wake up every single morning, you think about what you did with your DUI, and now you know exactly how your day's going to go. Mm-hmm. You're going to feel like shit.
Yeah.
You're going to feel your all-time low.
It was like that. I would get distracted and you know, I'll go throughout my day and like something reminded me of it, or like, you know, like I'd get something in the mail from the DMV, or right. Somebody would say DUI and it was like trigger, and that's true. Like it would like trigger and I'd think about it, and like I'd be up here, and then I'm like boom. But I think that what kind of kept me there with that was not telling anyone about it, like keeping it a
Yeah.
secret, like that. I mean, that ate me up, and like constantly, like people be like, oh, how's your job going? How are things going on? And I'm like, oh yeah, I would be like real like discreet about it, or I'd be
Yeah.
short and be like, oh, it's good, it's busy, and I would just keep it like real basic like that. And so, I mean, for the longest time, I think up until um, I made the podcast, because I mean that's really when I like
Came
announced
out to
it,
it, right?
yeah, and told everybody, and like once I did, like it felt like 1,000,000 pounds like lifted off of me, and
Yeah.
I was I was like chained up, you know what I mean? I was chained
Well,
up to this DUI.
and every single time you thought about it, your body reacted the same way,
Yeah, and
which
like
is
I said,
crazy.
it would like hit me, and it was like a black cloud came rolling in,
Right.
and like I'm down, and I'm like,
So here,
fuck.
just to finish that train of thought. So what if you're able to project your future based on your thoughts? What if instead of thinking about every single time, shit, my DUI, now you start thinking about the cop lights and the handcuffs and all this money you have to spend. Instead of thinking about those things, why don't you start envisioning, okay, my podcast has 70,000 views a week. I'm now monetizing it. I have my own studio at my nice ass, 3-bedroom house. So imagine it's the same thing like I said earlier. How come you can't make yourself better
Yeah,
instead of making yourself sick? Why can't you project your foreseeable future by projecting those thoughts in your mind?
yeah.
And I think you can.
And honestly, I did.
Right.
I really did. Like by putting this on the podcast, like I said, I freed myself from that.
Right.
And instead of like being like so ashamed and like discouraged
Thinking
of it,
about
what? I owned it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I did do that. I did fuck up, and you know
Right.
what I mean. I made a mistake, but I'll tell you what, I won't make that mistake twice, and I'll tell you what, I'm gonna learn from it. I think I might have said this with my sister, but that honestly could have been the best worst thing that happened to me.
Okay. Like a
Uh,
silver lining thing.
yeah, like exactly like a silver lining, because like hitting that, so like I'm going down a road, and I hit that speed bump, and it turned me to where I could have went down another road. I could have been an alcoholic, or
Right.
I could have started drinking and went down that path.
Right.
But instead I'm going down this path that I'm at now, and like I'm chasing. I started this podcast. I have a couple other things I'm working on. I'm getting into stocks. I'm trying to I'm trying to follow like the path that you did and do
Oh,
things
awesome.
on your
Right
own.
on.
And but like how you're mentioning that, like it registers with me, because like I said, if like I changed my future and like how I want to see things.
Yeah, you are what you think, right?
Yeah, and I think I'm really pushing myself finally to get down that path.
Yeah, and even just now, we just briefly brought up your DUI, and you were like, boom, 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 boom,
Mhm.
firing, and talking
Like
about it.
before, where I'll be like, oh well,
Right.
I don't want to talk
I think
about
you've
it.
gotten comfortable with it, and obviously there's a moral thing behind a DUI. Obviously, if you come to terms with those things, and it's like,
Yeah. And like some people don't, and where I was so embarrassed and ashamed of it, and I wanted to hide it and keep it from everyone. And that killed me. Like, you know what I mean? That really, like I said, it was a constant dark cloud. It was having that ball and chain constantly following me.
right,
And like now, I mean, like I'm fine. I feel free. I feel free from it. And I'm going through my classes now, and like people are in there and they're so miserable about it, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm only here because I'm supposed to be. My thought is, I'm paying for this, so let me get as much as I possibly can out of this. Let me get my money's worth, and try to like learn something. And I do, and I really do learn things. And obviously, I can't wait till it's over, and I can be
right.
but learn from this. But like I said, not twice. It's not going to happen to me twice.
Right on.
Yeah. What else we got? So you mentioned Marcy a lot. So obviously, for people who don't know, that's your wife.
Yeah. So Marcy's my wife. We've been dating. It was like on and off from high school.
Kind of like me and Natalie.
Yeah, it was. Right after we graduated, she went up to Greeley to go to school at UNC, and I stayed down here to stay at Metro, and we did the long distance thing. We really took it seriously. We moved in, bought a house together, and then obviously, got married. She's an entrepreneur like me.
Yeah.
She does more reading than I do. I mean, that girl reads probably 2 books a month, 3 books a month. I mean, she's really into it. She runs her own Mary Kay business. She's
super successful with that
yeah,
too. I'm
she's
like,
a
well,
sales
she's a grinder
yeah,
for
she's a
that, man.
sales director with Mary Kay. She's on track to get her pink Cadillac here coming up pretty soon. And
Would
yeah,
you
man.
drive her pink Cadillac?
No, I probably would.
I would
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah. I always tell her, I'm like, and I tell her Mary Kay friends, because they're like, I always call them a little mini cult, you know, and they're a little Mary Kay cult.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, I'm not driving that pink Cadillac. Are you kidding me? But who am I kidding?
Yeah.
Brand new 2022 pink Cadillac. I don't care.
You got to take it to the store or something.
Yeah. My Denver Bronco slippers or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she grinds, man. I mean, that girl is, you know, it's funny. People always talk about marrying your opposite, but Marcy and I are as opposite as you could ever even think. You know, that girl's so regimented and so like strict about her, you know, working out and her diet sometimes, and it's just like, you know, it's a clear projection that, for one, there's at least 2 different ways to skin a cat. There's 10 different ways to skin a cat, right? So she's extremely successful because she writes everything down. She's very strict about her schedule. You know, she likes that kind of structure where I'm extremely successful just living off the cuff.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think I'll go in at 9 today, and I get more done from 9 to 5 than I did from 7 to
It's like
7.
being more freely.
Yeah. No, but I think it's like it plays on this whole, you know, movement that it's you do it your way kind of thing. So.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, do it how you want to do it. Do it how you like.
Right.
But she was kind of the same as far as like you with leaving because what did she do before Mary Kay?
She was in corporate America also. She worked at a company called Encana. It was an oil and gas company. She was in procurement. She would buy the fracking material, fracking sand, and her and I left our corporate jobs like within a month of each other.
Was it like an agreement between you two,
no.
or it just worked out that way?
No, her mom still gets mad at me about it because I was supposed to be an engineer for like a year, and Marcy was going to quit, and we were going to kind of do this. We had a plan, you know.
Yeah.
I hate plans. I literally hate plans. But we had this plan that Marcy was going to quit and do Mary Kay for a year, and I was going to stay at my engineering job for a year, and we were just going to stack cash until we were comfortable. And I quit like a month. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I left. So we were both literally left our, you know, we're dual income, 100K plus people, like left our incomes to pursue these dreams.
Yeah.
And it got squirrely there for a little while, you know. It was.
But you guys made it. And
no, yeah.
Yeah, but like, no, I mean, just to take that risk. And
yeah,
it's kind of funny how things play out like that.
There is. And I think that, you know, in our society, that there's this common misconception that entrepreneurs' lives are really glorious, you know, because you got the big entrepreneurs talking, you got the Elon Musks, and you got the Steve Jobs, and you got, you know, these huge, like the Gary V's, these guys talking about, you know, you know, in my private jet, we're going to go talk about buying a basketball team. But, you know, so many times people don't get to see the raw footage of being an entrepreneur.
That grinding.
The
and
grind.
That, yeah.
I mean, the small business owner, the individual sales rep, you know, the guy hustling Cutco knives. You know what I mean? Like there's this other side of entrepreneurship that no one talks about. And it's you know, I got white hair in my beard because I don't know where my next dollar's coming from. Jordan, honestly, dude, I mean, it's scary. You know, when you're a part of an institution, a 9 to 5, every 15 days, you know that you can at least wait to get something paid for. You know, you have to wait every 15 days to do it, but hey, it's going to be there. You know, it's going to be there. So as an entrepreneur, you know, it's not for everyone, and I hate to be the one to tell you that. And here, don't listen to a damn word I have to say. You know, go do whatever the hell you want to do. But you have to remember that this isn't a job. I'm not going from Denver Water to the town of Castle Rock. You know, you're not going from Coors to whatever. You're going. This is an entire life cycle. I mean, you're changing your whole life.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, it's not all how's the saying going, glitters and rainbow.
Right, it isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I haven't got a taste of it yet, but I mean, I could only imagine just everything that goes into it, and just so much stress. So yeah, I think that's the glorified of entrepreneurship is like, oh yeah, you're living this great life, but it's not like that. And you know what I mean? There's so much stress that comes along with it. What else you got, Dario? Anything else you're working on? What about real estate? You ever thought about getting in real estate?
You know what? I when I was younger, in my early 20s, late 20s, I thought about it I bought a house when I was really young, and the market tanked in '08, and it messed up my credit for the housing stuff.
Where you're at now?
No, this house on Ellsworth. I was like 18 when I bought this house,
Oh, okay.
and I was gonna be like a fix and flipper, and I did it with my mom, and the housing bubble in 2008 blew up, and my arm loan went through the roof, and I had to short sale the house, and it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. But fixing and flipping really was it's probably the dumbest thing I didn't get into, because I literally can do anything on a house.
Yeah.
I've helped Danny Palio, like a bunch of my friends, remodel their homes, and I love to do it, honestly. Like, I love I have a home theater in my basement, and I love to build, and it was like kind of following in my father's footsteps with that in that aspect. But it was something that I think I still will get into. The house that we're in now, we have a ton of equity in, and it could be a rental property or a fix and flip kind of thing or whatever. But yeah, no, I'm not really in that real estate
really
thing.
No,
my portfolios and stocks and most recently moved into crypto, which I think that's the wave, honestly.
Shout out Dogecoin.
Yeah, shout out to Bitcoin.
Yeah. Okay, so that's not your niche. You wouldn't do like buy and holds or nothing like that.
Oh, you're talking about cryptos?
No, for real estate. Yeah.
You know what? It just depends. The only thing that kind of pushed me off with real estate is you have to have a lot of capital, or you have to have a lot, good credit, or you have to have investors. And it's just, I do well on my own. And I told this to my business partner, Robert, like, I play well by myself, and I've always been that way.
Yeah.
But being in real estate, unless you have the capital, unless you're sitting on a couple $1 million where you can buy 10 houses,
where you can play with it like that,
right?
Yeah.
Then you have to rely on other people, investors or lenders, and you have to rely on your credit. But I mean, I could maybe see myself getting involved with some form of real estate.
Once you have that capital, like you said, throw this out, and here you guys take care of that. And
right, absolutely.
Bring me back the bag.
Yeah, and and I'm fully on track. I was talking to Brian Beef the other day, and we were just like, 2021 is going to be a huge year, and he's been doing well this year also on his sports bet and stuff.
Yeah, that dude's like the guru.
Yeah,
we sell his picks or something.
Right. We talk a lot about the breaking the generational trends and thinking outside the box, and the old way of making money's dead, and just even having someone like Brian who's in his own successful in his own way is completely different from what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But we still have the same mentality.
Yeah, it's like the same like.
Yeah, because I can't think the way that I think with someone who's been doing the same thing for 25 years, because then it sounds like I'm gloating, or it sounds like I'm showing off, because my goals and my ambitions are too high for somebody to be able to understand or fathom.
Yeah. No, exactly.
But anyway, yeah. So I don't really know what's next. Honestly, I'm gonna keep hitting that trailer business hard. I'm gonna keep my consulting up, and then my trading career is just, it's on the cusp.
That might be it, huh?
No, honestly, I kind of stumbled into this, and that may be it. Honestly, I was in Boston picking up a race motor for my little Eclipse that I built this last summer, and that's kind of what led me into trading. I met a guy, and showed me another guy, and I just, I'm a firm believer on, if it was meant to be, it'll be, and that's how me and my wife live our entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this didn't happen because it wasn't meant to be. Whatever religious beliefs you have, or whatever.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
That's mine. Is everything happens for a reason, good or bad.
I accidentally stumbled into forex trading, which is, again, completely different from stock trading, but I'm really good at it. And it was like, it's like everything that I was good at. Researching trends. Doing your due diligence, like, just, it's perfect for me. And I start thinking about, of all the things that I've done in this life, this is going to be the thing that takes me there. Which,
and it's it's stressful, but it's the easiest. It's a less amount of.
It is now, but
yeah,
it wasn't.
Starting off when
smoke accounts,
I
I blew accounts, dude. And my boy Pete, if PJ ever listens to this, he'll laugh, because he's like, we throw the kitchen sink at it. And I'm like, I'm the same way, dude. I don't want to make $500.
Yeah,
I don't want to make $200. I want to throw the whole kitchen sink at it and
pull out.
And it was perfect timing for me, because I have some capital that I can move into a position like this and not have to worry about turning 1,000 into 25,000 in a year.
Yeah.
I could turn 25 into 75 in a month, or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
kind of power that forex has. So anyway, yeah, that's next for me. I'm still working on my cars. We're looking for a piece of property, some house. We're trying to move west.
How far west?
Morrison maybe.
Okay, I like that area.
Yeah.
I want to say southwest, as long as you ain't moving up north.
No.
Nothing against anybody living up north, but I don't go anywhere north of Alameda. It's just all foreign to me, but but
yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on, dude.
yeah, and I appreciate you coming and sharing your knowledge and dropping these gems and I hope people. That's why I wanted you to have. I wanted to have you on.
Right on.
It's just because like I said, you're somebody I really look up to in that aspect.
Appreciate it.
Somebody, if I had questions, I could bring them to you and like I said, hats off to you. The utmost respect for leaving the engineering gig to do what you're doing.
It was dumb, Jordan. It was dumb.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it paid off, and it paid off, and you know what I mean. And it's awesome, and I love to see it.
Keep an eye out for that war room.
Yeah, for sure. So you said you don't know what's next for you?
No, man, I don't.
Just focus on what you got now, and
yeah, I mean, I can. Like I was talking earlier about being able to project your future. I think that every single day, I don't drink coffee or anything, but every single day I close my eyes at least 10, 15 minutes in my conscious being, awake, not sleeping. And I picture even that war room or even anything, like I picture myself, on a beach somewhere with my laptop, and I just caught 250 pips on gold and just made a quick $2,500 in an hour, And that all sounds foreign to you because you don't trade forex, but it's something that happens.
No, I get that.
Yeah, well, and it's something that happens every single second of every single day. Dude, when you really start thinking about what $77 trillion is, I honestly, sometimes it'll mess me up. Like I get down this like rabbit hole of thoughts, and I'm like, I don't even know how much money that is. But it's like all I'm trying to do is catch a breadcrumb.
Just a piece.
They're $1 million breadcrumbs.
Oh yeah. Why not? You know what I mean?
Right.
And after this, I think I'm going to start looking into it more. I've been more on the stocks and options.
Yeah. So I trade foreign exchange. I trade exchange currency pairs is what I change. I trade the XAU gold versus the U.S. dollar. I trade Bitcoin versus the U.S. dollar, or the Swiss franc versus the Japanese yen, or the Great British pound versus the euro. Whatever the currency pair. You could trade oil. You could trade commodities like the US 30, S&P. There's a ton.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many currency pairs there are, but I'm getting really good at gold. And that's kind of what my group, like the people that I talk to and stuff, everyone trades gold just because it's volatile. There's a ton of volume in gold. You can catch 100 pips in an hour.
I don't think it'll ever go anywhere either. I mean,
no.
They use gold for like circuit boards.
And maybe I think maybe for our generation, for the time that we're on this planet, I think we see an institutional move to Bitcoin because people call Bitcoin like the online gold, the digital gold. So I think that we see a little bit loss of volume in gold, but still, you go get a gold bar and you can walk in any pawn shop on the planet and get market value for it.
Yeah,
that's power. That's 500 years of power.
Yeah, and it's always going up too, right?
Right.
Nice.
So yeah, man. I mean, I think I'm just going to focus on my trading career. There's really nothing that I haven't been able to get really good at, and I haven't gotten this far in my life being lazy.
Yeah.
So this is something that, like I said earlier, I've fallen in love with it, and I wake up every day and I check. I check what the markets are doing. I look on Forbes.com and see what the gold news is doing. I check on what crypto stuff's doing.
That's crazy because, like I said, I mean, we ain't supposed to be doing this stuff.
No,
this isn't us. This is for the. And no offense to my Caucasian people out there, but this is for white people. You know what I mean? This ain't for us.
Right. No, absolutely. And it's.
And I love to see that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, like we can be in this too.
Right.
Why
not?
Why not us? Like, make room. We're in
absolutely.
this too. Right on. So, I mean, any wise words from you? Any advice to anyone looking to, make that jump or that leap? Drop some, last minute
sauce.
Gems. Yeah.
Dude. In all honesty, like I when I heard you were doing this, I smiled ear to ear. I love seeing my tribe eat. I love seeing my tribe think outside of the box. I love seeing people get promotions. You know what I mean? Like, hey. a lot of our good friends work at Denver Water, and I love Denver Water. It paid for my education. It paid me the entire time. I don't know how many times I was able to do the trips and stuff that I did because of it. But, I think you really need to think long and hard. And I'm talking to an earlier version of myself, really, and you guys are just being able to hear this. But I think you really need to outweigh everything, and I can't stress this enough. You have to play on your strengths. You can't be a quiet, timid, analytical person and get into sales.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't. You have to 100% play on your strengths. This life is not for everyone. You know what I mean? You may get people that grin at that or say, well, what does he know? He's not even anybody. And I'm not anybody, dude. Mm-hmm. I'm just some kid from Southwest Denver that decided to think outside of the box, decided to break the mold, decided to get away from the generational trends that my entire life had been, before me had been going through. My entire Diaz name was a hard work and break your back, get up every single day, use a hammer, go home. That's what you did.
And do it all over again.
Right, yeah, but I can't, I touched on this a little bit earlier, that we glorify entrepreneurship. There has been some days, Jordan, where there is nothing glorified about what I'm going through. A couple of times I thought I was going to get sued for something. And, talking about living in the past, that strain on your body, dude, it ages you.
Yeah.
I just erased 5 years from my life because this person was mad at something or another and was going to sue me, and that kind of stress doesn't come up with an engineer 9 to 5 at some company. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's a whole different another stress.
It is, dude.
I mean?
No, 100% is, because this is my life you're dealing with. So I guess if you take anything away from this session is that you got to play on your strengths, and you really need to step back and look at the bigger picture, because I want everyone to go out and find something that they truly are passionate about and love to do. But this entrepreneur life isn't for everybody. Mm-hmm. It isn't. Yeah. And you know what? Grin at it, be mad at it, do whatever you need to, but it isn't.
No, I mean, it's a harsh truth.
So, I heard a little excerpt from Lady Gaga who was talking about, if you just gave somebody a compliment about their career choice once a day for every single day, you would inspire them to do something. Now, if you need a compliment from somebody to be inspired to become an entrepreneur, then you're not an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, as serious as I can look at, you're not an entrepreneur. Because this stems so deeply in you that it is who you are. And it took a long time, honestly, for me to be able to just be like, you know what, that's just what I'm gonna be, an entrepreneur. Because I tried to go back to get other gigs, and I tried to, maybe I'll just hang this up now, and I did pretty good. I got a big chunk now. I'm gonna go back to being an engineer, and it just didn't line up. And I'm like, you know what, this is who I am now. This is what I am.
Yeah, and you accepted it,
right? But it's not crap cakes in football like MTV makes it out to be, or these Gary V's who are flying around in private jets, and it just, for 99% of us, 98% of us, 90%, I don't know what the statistical number is. It isn't that way. For the small business owner who's an entrepreneur who has to do every single thing, it isn't that way, Yeah. So there's, I guess, to tell your listeners anything is that there's a lot more to it than I show you on my Snapchat.
Than what the eye sees.
Right.
You see the wins, but
right.
you don't see that.
You're
pulling your hair out. And
my little brother just left his job to start D&D Glass.
I've seen that.
Yeah, he does residential glass now. He's on Facebook. But, him and I had a lot of conversations about it. And I'm like, okay, have you talked to an attorney about an operating agreement? Have you set up an LLC? Have you bought a vehicle for the company? Are you sitting on $25K that can float you and your daughter in case something, there's and he's like, holy shit.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
He had answers to 30-40% of the questions. He's like, what the hell is that? I'm like, dude, these are things that no one tells you about, in the whole process of, go out and chase your dreams. It's like, well, fuck. He didn't tell me that I had to carry a $2 million liability coverage that costs $1,500 a month. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. It just isn't an open door for you to walk into.
There's
all the obstacles.
I mean, I only speak on things that I know very well, and, I keep an eye out for that war room that me and Jordan put together.
Yeah, we'll get there, and we're gonna get there, and you're definitely
I'm on the path. It's
Yeah.
I'm excited. I mean, that's like the next path for me. Honestly, I get excited thinking about it.
I see it, man.
Like,
I see
being
it.
in this room and be like, yo, like, what do you think about this movement? Like, I don't know. I read this on JP's website that they're doing this with this. It's like, yeah, no, let's not do that. Like this high-paced environment where everyone's kind of lending their ideas and their knowledge, and everyone at the table's eating.
Yeah, that kind of I don't know. It reminds me of like a Wolf of Wall Street, minus like all the drugs and shit.
Yeah,
but like just
no.
Yeah, but just like that intensity.
No,
and
yeah,
that,
absolutely.
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's exciting. Well, I appreciate it, Dario.
Yeah,
Thank
right
you
on,
so
dude.
much for
Thank you
coming
for
on
having
here and blessing us with some gems and sharing your story. And I hope it inspires others. And like he said, it's not all glitter and rainbows. Would you say
crab cakes and football?
Yeah, crab cakes and football. Yeah, I'm sure I'll have you on the show again. We'll talk about how you hit $1 million off of forex. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a long way for that, but
you'll get there. But all right, everyone, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. Oh, how do people get a hold of you? How do people go ahead and plug your socials? Or
yeah, so I'm on Instagram, DTown Dario at DTown Dario. You can hit me up there. I'm on Facebook also, Dario Diaz on Facebook. Otherwise, highaltitudetrailers.com. You can contact me through there.
I'll post the link for the website too on there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, check them out. What's the standard price for them?
I can't legally talk about price because I'm a manufacturer, but you can get a hold of our Denver dealership, Earthship Overland. Okay. They're in Inglewood. They could talk numbers with you. Our MSRP, our suggested price, is $24,000 for a base model.
Okay.
And then it goes up and down from there.
But I mean, it's worth every single penny, man. It's worth it.
And it's worth it. It's got to be what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. It's a very niche market, but it's very cash dense. And the person that's looking at this trailer has a $150,000 Jeep. He doesn't care about $20,000.
Yeah.
So that was anyway.
But no, I mean, they're worth the money. And when I grow up, I'm gonna buy one. I'm gonna buy a couple of them. Alrighty, guys. Well, yeah, thank you again, and I appreciate the love and the support. Last week, I left off with a little quote, and I was watching Denzel's Washington's movie Fences, and he said, "You got to take your crookeds with your straights." And I don't know, that just like resonated with me. So, awesome. You got to take the good with the bad. So thank you again, everyone. And yeah, I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.